I will make some response in light of what drives me and keeps me going on. I will tell you as a matter of truth that there is nothing that is extremely genuine that doesn't come with a cost. And there is nothing that is worthwhile that doesn't come with a price. And sometimes the price may involve a little bit of discomfort on our side, and that's the challenge that we may have in our day-to-day struggles. I will perhaps be able to make a dispensation in some of the things that have informed me, especially in terms of my writings. I was lucky, I must say, that I came up as having been celebrated, perhaps that was way back in 2022, as the best legal researcher in Africa, and we won that award in Nairobi. And then in 2025, again, we were lucky that we also won another award in light of the best legal researcher as well, in terms of by SMAC, SMAC Africa, a research institute, but also that pride themselves in publishing as well. So and by using the word we, I'm trying to be as humble as possible because I don't know how to use the word I. But so when I say we, I'm referring to those who have made me, informed me in one way or the other, whether by way of critiquing or by way of perhaps giving me a part or encouraging me, or even striving to discourage me. But listen, there's a friend of mine who asked me and said, Isaac, what moves you on? What gives you the impetus to keep moving or keep writing or keep doing the things that you do? And it was a hard question in a way because I had the answer inside me. And this person was asked by their mother, what moves that individual to do the things they do? And he said, he does things like he's dying the next day, and perhaps that may be a little bit true in a way, that because who knows when you're going to leave this earth, But what informs me is captured in the words of Stephen Biko. Some of you know who Stephen Biko was. Stephen Biko was a black consciousness anti-apartheid activist way back, who wrote a book called I Write What I Want, and it was posthumously published in 1978. But one of the important things in some of his works was that the most potent fear in the hands of the oppressor is the mind of the oppressed. And so you have to understand that certain individuals who have aligned themselves against you may end up making you a much better individual without them knowing. And I can tell you for a fact that even though today we celebrate ourselves as having written perhaps 70 law and other, call them political science or philosophy books, which are readily available at our website on lubogo.org or suejeunesselaw.com, even though we have changed a lot of information by finding a one-stop center in the legal fraternity called the Sue Jeunesse Law app, where you can find almost everything that is associated with law freely, by the way. And we have still had our bad days, and I will tell you for a fact that some of the bad days have come because of our best friends or those who have tended to be our friends in one way or the other. But little do they know that in doing that, they end up encouraging us to keep moving. And so my momentum or my zeal to write doesn't come because of financial reward. It has come because of that is what we feel inside us, that we have a responsibility to be able to change people's lives, to affect people's lives. If we can lend a helping hand, then our works will not be in vain. And that's what Dr. Martin Luther King used to say. Dr. King used to say that he didn't want to be reminded or perhaps remembered of the many accolades that he has won, in spite of the fact that he was what? A Nobel winner, prize winner. He had so many achievements. He said, I would like to be remembered as a drum major for drumming the drum of justice. And that comes up very strongly on me in terms of what I would want perhaps to be remembered on that day. And he said, I don't want many songs to be sung, I don't want many things to be done, but as long as I can be remembered as a drum major, and that brings the magical question, perhaps Jesus of Nazareth, who said, many will come and say, Father, Father, we did this. And he said, I did not know you. And he said, whatever you did to the least of my brother, you did it unto me. So if we can position ourselves in such a way that we can be able to extend a helping hand, whether in terms of our works that we do, in terms of academia, in terms of practice, in terms of medicine, in terms of science, in terms of literature, in terms of anything, how does that come on in terms of helping your brother or sister? We will be our brother's keeper, one or the other. And so I can tell you that even at this struggle of writing or doing the things that we do, we have met a lot of resistance. There are days that I wake up in the morning and I'm worried about the next WhatsApp, chat that's going to come on those WhatsApp group, and someone is going to, bash you, or someone is going to abuse you, insult you. I don't know how many times they have thrown us off WhatsApp groups for no reason, not because we have offended anyone in any particular way, but because we are coming up with perhaps these truths that tend to be uncomfortable, and some truth can be uncomfortable, No wonder one of my oral mentor, Winston Churchill, said sometimes the truth can become so precious that it has to be guarded with the bodyguard of lies, and so these are things that we have stood for and we have engaged. And I remember when I was writing some books in light of His Excellency, and when we were called in Kololo to present, because our book came up as one of the best really of the day, the best prize actually of the day, and I remember the First Lady saying, when His Excellency tried to go to the bush, almost all his friends, went to her and told her, your husband has run mad completely. And so we were aware of how many people have called us names, how many have thrown us off the forums, how many have said there's nothing good. Call them from all centers of this world. But we have kept the rest. We have run the rest with humility. We have learned from constructive criticism. Many of the things that have informed us today that make us keep thriving and perfecting our art is because of a critic that came from somewhere. There are instances when we write books, for example, and they come out and you, by mistake, perhaps inadvertently, cite the wrong repealed act, and perhaps not even that bizarre, but perhaps even a name. Instances when your name is misspelled, your own name is misspelled, and someone jumps up and say, wait a minute, listen, look at what the guy is doing. Things that can easily be corrected, in a second or so. Even before ChatGPT, we were writing, and there are people who are coming out with big stories. He gets people's books and changes book covers, and then lo and behold, no one comes out to accuse him. And then he gets information from somewhere, and lo and behold, those who come up cannot even prove that. And then come the ChatGPT now. We wrote before ChatGPT. Incredibly, some of the biggest books that we wrote, the Objection I wrote, for example, which is arguably probably the biggest book in Africa, was written at a time when ChatGPT was not anyone. And now you ask yourself, if you're saying we did ChatGPT, then how about these other books, perhaps 40 plus, where in the eras of, ChatGPT was not existent during the time. So there are many things that are going to come. Listen, if you have some things, even if you jump in a swamp, for example, those who don't want you will say, did you see how much dust he raised? Just because you jumped in a swamp where there's no dust at all. So these are things that are going to find yourself in life, the hassles that they'll be pulling you down, they'll be stoning you left, right, and center. But as I told you, what gives us the grace, the mandate, the ability to believe in ourselves, is because we have chosen a bigger cause, a cause to serve humanity, a cause to make it easy and lighter. There are instances when our names have actually been spoken over masses, on on media perhaps, or even in classrooms perhaps, and how detrimental that can be, and just you feel the pain, even with people who can barely write 2 sentences. They come up and critique you, but we accept it as constructive criticism, and that has informed us and shaped us into the individual that we are today. So it is important for you to understand that whatever trade you're doing, there are moments where people are going to pull you down. There are moments that people are going to fight you. They're going to use everything against you. They will use everything. They will even tell you you don't actually belong to planet Earth. But use it in the wise way, use it in the right way, and don't give up. Keep pressing on, and that will inform you. And as long as your desire, your zeal is right, your motive is right, you will arrive to your destiny. So that's what encourages us. We're not looking for presidential accolades or perhaps even presidential nominations. We're comfortable within our lane. You must learn to move within your lane. If you want to bless us, yes, bless us within our lane. That's important. You must understand that this is my lane, and when you discover your lane, no one is a duplicate within your own lane. No one can duplicate what you can do within your own lane. You'll be the best individual that you can ever be. Dr. King told us that. He said, if it falls your luck to be a street sweeper, strip the streets like Raphael painted pictures, or like Shakespeare wrote poetry, or like Beethoven composed music. Strip the streets so well that the dead, the living, and the unborn cannot do it any better. And as long as you're destined for that purpose, you may not be. He taught us more, Dr. King. He said, you may not be the pine on top of a hill, but be the shrub in the valley, but be the best side of the shrub on the side of the real. As long as that is within you. Listen, Ralph Waldo Emerson in 1849 said, if a man can build a better house, or perhaps make a better mousetrap than their neighbor, even if they build their house in the woods, the world will make a beaten path to their door. That, my friend, will become increasingly true. So the challenges are going to be there. But listen, it's not a bad mango that is always stoned. It's a ripe one that is always stoned. So you have to look out that they will stone you, they will pull you down, they will castigate you, they will speak everything on you. They will tell them you can do anything as long as you spell my name right. Just tell them that. I don't mind what you do, I don't mind what you say. Do whatever you want, but as long as you spell my name right. Ladies and gentlemen, keep going and never give up. That's what a story was told of Winston Churchill. Winston Churchill reminded us one thing, that never, never, never give up. God bless you, and thank you.